ready, Mon?
You're on.
Go ahead.
Okay, great. Okay. Good morning, everyone. I'd like to call to order the open meeting for Thursday, February 9th, 2023, and ask the Commission Secretary for information on today's agenda.
Each commissioner has independently reviewed the minutes of the open meeting of Thursday, February 2nd, 2023, and each has informed me there is no need to discuss the minutes.
Move to approve the minutes of Thursday, February 2nd, 2023.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Each commissioner has independently reviewed the agenda, and each has informed me there is no need to discuss the notices associated with agenda items 2 through 7.
Move we approve the notices of investigation associated with agenda items 2 through 4.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oh, I move we approve the notices of proceeding associated with agenda items 5 through 7.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Just
All
get
right.
Tyler ready
the
for it. That's
first-
all. Getting them ready.
You're going to have to leave notes. Okay, so that brings us to our first item for discussion, which is docket 3720-WI-105. This is the investigation into Milwaukee Water Works for the unauthorized purchase and installation of billing system software in 2018. So in the course of its current rate review, Commission staff noticed that there was a billing software and storage device project at the cost of $941,389 that Milwaukee Water Works undertook, and they capitalized those dollars, and that expenditure exceeds the cost threshold for required Commission review under our statutes. Milwaukee Water Works did not apply for approval from us for authorization, nor did they receive authorization. So in the past, we've done this a couple of different ways. It's clear from the evidence and from the back and forth between the utility and staff that the installation of the billing software would have been reasonable under the statutory authorization parameters. It was necessary to continue to use that software. It doesn't appear to me that Milwaukee Water Works intentionally evaded the statutory requirement to seek approval from us. And so I was okay determining that, yes, they violated the state statute and we should send a letter of reprimand, but I did not feel that this rises to the level of taking other enforcement actions. And then in terms of rate recovery, as we have done in the past, I would allow the utility to seek recovery in that current rate case that's pending. And then ultimately, I would delegate the approval to the administrator for water unless there's sufficient cause to elevate it to the full commission. Commissioner Nowak.
Oh, okay. So for the on rate recovery, your alternative 2.
Yes.
Are you at alt 1 and 2?
I'm at both alt 1 and 2.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, got it.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, we when we have these types of things, there's varying degrees of, I think, knowledge, culpability, et cetera, acknowledgement that there was a mistake made. Here, I agree with you that it didn't appear intentional. It does seem to be an oversight, but maybe a good reminder that, there are rules in place, and the purpose, again, is for us to make sure that ratepayer dollars are being spent appropriately and at the appropriate time. So I do appreciate that they're cooperation with the commission in this, but it is clear to me that it was a violation of the statutes to install the software without prior authorization. So I am also at alternative one, and I do think that a letter of reprimand, which we standardly do in these situations, is also appropriate here and nothing beyond that. And I was also at allowing approval. It was also clear that this is a necessary and a reasonable expense. So I was at alternative one, allowing them to seek rate recovery of that. And then I wasn't ready to then delegate final approval of the entire rate case. Typically, we see the City of Milwaukee ones come to us just because it's the largest in the state. So I was not in favor of having it be delegated, us saying right now it's presumed to be delegated unless it's not. I think we should presume it comes to us, just like all of their previous rate cases, most of their previous rate cases. So I'm just at alternative one.
So you're at alt one.
One. Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Got it. Alt one and alt three.
Yeah, and three. Yeah.
Okay. Commissioner Huebner?
Yeah, thank you. I'm in the same place as you both on the compliance. So as you said, determine the violation occurred, alternative one, and then send a letter of reprimand to alternative three. Agree with you both that it did not appear intentional, but that level of response is appropriate from us. On rate recovery, I was at alternative one. To allow them to seek rate recovery, as was stated, it seemed this was a software update that was required, and staff found that it would have been found reasonable. And I'm fine joining you, Chair, at alternative two. I think unless some other issue comes up that needs to be elevated, I'm okay with delegating this. It sounds like it's going to be a pretty routine rate case, so I would land there.
I'll remain where I'm at. But I'll dissent on that portion. But I'll make a motion, docket 3720 WI 105, that we have staff draft an order consistent with our discussion today.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. That takes us to agenda item 9, which is docket 6260-TE-111. This is a request from WPPI Energy on behalf of Wanakee Water and Light for approval of an optional 3-tier residential time of day rate, or RG3 rate. This rate would be specific for EV charging for customers at home with level 2 chargers. Importantly, it has the potential to benefit all customers, especially if off-peak charging increases the average load factor, which then would reduce the average overall cost of power. The proposed rate would be available to any residential customer with AMI capable of providing hourly interval data. The utility has proposed 3 different pricing tiers, a peak period, an off-peak period, and a standard period. The commission staff in its analysis finds that additional reporting requirements would likely be helpful, and the utility agrees with that. We also received comments from Renew Wisconsin. At the end of the day, the applicant anticipates that there will be no additional cost to customers or the applicant because they're not going to require any incremental metering or charging infrastructure. They've set these tiers with the hopes of trying to send proper price signals to customers as to when they should begin charging. and when customers should be able to shift that charging load to off-peak hours. Beyond the proposed reporting requirements, Commission staff did not identify any specific concerns with this proposed rate design. It's designed to be revenue neutral while incentivizing that shift of the charging load. So the additional evaluation and reporting requirements I was okay with. So that was alternative 2. And then the applicant, and so I would include those conditions and I would accept the applicant's proposal. Then interestingly, the applicant requested the ability to delegate this because WPPI will likely model additional tariffs to its other members. And so in this case, I actually would not delegate authority because I think it's really important for us to look at just the exact rate design. And I also think it provides an opportunity to discuss the benefits and the potential pitfalls of these rate filings. So I would not delegate it. I would continue to have these rate designs come to us at least for the foreseeable future. If they start to get to the place like new low market tariffs, as we've done in the past where we've delegated those, maybe we can revisit that, but I'm not comfortable doing it in this particular case. So that's where I am. I would accept the rate as proposed, but I would include the evaluation and reporting conditions, and then I would not delegate future filings. I would keep it with us. Commissioner Nowak.
Thank you. I first want to thank the utility for bringing something like this forward. We haven't seen, well, obviously from munis, but even from our larger ones, 3-tiered rate ones. And they obviously put a lot of thought and analysis into what windows should be used of time and so forth. And, they're using their best efforts to figure out what customer behavior will move customer behavior. And I appreciate them accepting and including these reporting requirements, because that's going to be important. And when we always talk about what is the role of utilities and the rollout of EVs, and of course this rate is for anybody, but it is most likely going to be EV owners that adopt this. This is the exact kind of thing that I think is appropriate for utilities to get into and necessary for them to do as well, so we can hopefully mitigate some stressors on the grid as if we do see more of this. So I'll be interested to see the participation rate and then how, behavior is modified from that. So we could have maybe modified some of their windows and stuff, but I think of peak times and off-peak times and standard, but I think that what they have selected here is reasonable. But I too would not delegate any future tariffs like this for the reasons you stated. These aren't standard yet. We're far from being standard. We don't know if these peak hours yet are going to work. And I think that as more utilities look at this, they might find different customer behaviors work, and we may learn that the windows here, they might want to tweak them. So I think that's a decision that should be made by the full commission until we find out what is actually more routine. And we're, I think, years away from that. So I will also join you in not delegating future decisions like this one.
Okay, thanks. Commissioner Huebner?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I was pretty excited about this when I, reading the memo and the background on this. I think this is a good proposal, so I'm going to be joining you both. I think the advantage of having your standard rate for most of the hours, so it's not really a penalty to just keep using energy the way you use it for most of the hours. obviously that 4-hour window then with the higher use, and then the 5-hour window overnight with the super low. I think it's going to be interesting to see if it works. So I'm in the same spot as you all. I would add one condition, and that would be related to basically them telling us how they plan to treat net metering customers. So as you get into these different rate tiers, when the energy is produced versus when it's used, different utilities handle that differently, whether there's sort of the production in a certain window has to be consumed in that window versus, can it kind of be spread across other hours? So
Wouldn't that be under their existing tariff already?
that's what I was working with staff, and so I think we didn't ask a data request on this, so that's what I was just gonna add a reporting condition of, please explain how the tariff will interact with your net metering tariff. So that would be, so I'd be at the Alt 2 on reporting as you were. I would be at Alt 1 supporting the tariff. But I would just have them tell us how they plan to treat net metering customers. And then ideally, kind of as staff identified how many customers are coming from RG2 to RG3, I think it'd be another interesting point, how many of your customers on this RG3 are also net metering customers. And just hopefully there's not very many customers now, so I don't think that should be a burden to collect that. So that would be my proposed addition. And then on delegation, I was in the same spot as you both. I was at Alt 2. I think, let's see how this one does. And if this utility asks for tweaks, or if other utilities come in for similar but slightly different, we can take those one at a time until we have a kind of a track record on that, so.
Just a clarification, Commissioner, so you would be on the second item, you would be on Alt 2, except with the conditions?
I would, and then I would just add that condition, as I mentioned, that they explain how they plan to treat net metering customers.
Okay, and would you
Yep.
want that to be a work with staff as to the format and the particulars?
Yeah, that'd be fine, yeah. Yep. So I don't know if either of you two could go along with that or
I
not.
think they've got to treat the net metering customers as the tariff specifies. So I guess I'm more a little confused, like they can't treat them different under the tariff.
Right.
So if they want to, they have to come in for a docket to change that tariff. So I don't know that we need I guess I'm hesitant to keep putting things like this in order points where
Yeah.
you can just have a conversation with
Yeah.
the utility
Yeah.
about it.
No,
So
that's fine.
order points, I think we just need to be more careful about what becomes an order point. And I would just talk to the utility about that rather than make an order point of certain things. So I would not join you on that.
Right, and I agree with you, Commissioner Nowak. Another possible way to approach it would be when we see the next filing that becomes a data request to the utility. I understand the wanting to see the information, but they have an existing tariff that governs how net metering customers must be treated. And so I guess I wouldn't frame it as a condition, but there's nothing to prevent us from having a follow-up discussion with the utility on that point.
No, I think that's fair. Thanks for your responses on that. Great. So I'll be joining. Yep.
Are you good, Mark? Okay. And
Okay.
docket 6260 TE111, I move that we approve with the conditions and pursuant to our discussion today, the Wanakee Water and Light Commission's request for approval of an RG3 optional 3-tier residential time of day rate.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that concludes our official business for today. Our next open meeting is scheduled for Thursday, February 16th, 2023 at 10:30 a.m.
Move we stand adjourned until Thursday, February 16th.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thanks, everyone.